Hello, welcome to our friend Nerd and Proud of It. We are so happy that you came onto the channel, and we are going to be do a little collaboration and talking a bit about Wilds of Eldraine. So, welcome. You maybe want to just introduce yourself to our viewers.
Do I? First of all, thanks a lot for the warm welcome, Sophie and Jens. I think it's an honor to be on your channel, of course. Do I have to introduce myself? Normally, I do like, hey, folks, my name is Jürgen, aka Nerd and Proud of It, and Destiny has brought you to this channel today to see a cooperation between me and Cardboard Guide. No, I got a channel about Magic the Gathering as well, same as you guys do, and mostly trading card games, some other nerd stuff. That's why I am called Nerd and Proud of It. And I think that sums it up pretty nicely.
Yeah, welcome. So, we're going to have a little talk today about the Wilds of Eldraine and what we think about this set. Yeah, it's a standard set, and it is the first set after the Phyrexian invasion story arc. And right now we are seeing some of the ramifications from the Phyrexian invasion on the plane of Eldraine. So, dear Jürgen, what do you think of the Wilds of Eldraine as a set?
As a set in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first thing I think about is the price. Because if you look at the price of the set, especially looking back at the other sets that have been released recently, I think the price is very good for a standard set. And I think $100 for a draft booster box, 110 for a set booster box, and $200 for a collector booster box is pretty awesome. And in general, the first appearance of the set, the first impression I get is a very positive one. I don't know about you, but I kind of like everything I see.
Definitely. I think the art seems really great. I like the art style. I like the old school, a little bit more dark fairy tale, but also a lot of, fun, whimsical stuff like the gingerbread people. And in general, I just really like that we have sort of a palette cleanser that's very different from the Phyrexian story art. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think I think that's a very fair point. Do you think it's a good idea to? I think they're starting a 3-year story arc with this one, right? And you're more into story arcs and everything than I am, which I like to read a couple of books here and there, and I read a few comics, and I know roughly the story, of course, about antiquities and Urza and blah blah blah. But in modern times, I don't follow it that much anymore. But are you looking forward to the story arc crossing a couple of years for the next few years?
Yeah, I actually am. I think having like a continuous story will make the Magic universe feel more solid, especially because we're having a lot of different IPs with the universes beyond. So having like a more broad story arc, I really hope that's going to feel like the sets are more connected, even though we're not doing typical blocks anymore. Maybe that having like a general story that makes everything a bit more cohesive. That's at least my hope for it.
Yeah,
I think
also because some of my favorite, stories in Magic have been, I think about around the Weatherlight set, having what's he called, Captain Caspian and the whole Weatherlight crew. I thought that story arc was just great. So having a little longer story and having some really memorable characters, I think that does a lot for the game, and it makes the cards also being more memorable and not just being forgotten when the next set comes out. So I'm looking forward to that too. And I'm also looking really much forward to the adventure mechanic. We had the adventure mechanic in the last Eldraine set, the Throne of Eldraine, and it was really powerful. So I'm looking really much forward to see if the new dual-colored adventures are being just as powerful, or if it's a little more, watered down this time around, because last time it was an absolute blast to play with.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that one too. I think I normally on Magic the Gathering Arena I play a red deck, and I played Bone Crusher Giant a lot, and it really worked well. And I really like the adventure mechanic. So you got 2 cards in one, and that's always cool. Is it the story arc? Is it only for the standard sets, right? It's not because the universes beyond don't fit in there. Yeah.
No, it's only going to be the standard. Everything universes beyond and all the secret layers, they're going to be like on a separate track, and then you're going to have a standard set track, and they're also going to fit into this like 3-year long story. But it might be interesting. I mean, I'm interested to see if they can hold it for that long. Like, do people want to interact with the same story for 3 years? Are people interested enough? I don't know, but I really hope that means that they're maybe also, putting a little more money into it, making sure that the story actually, that the writers have time to tell the story. Because sometimes we have some stories that seem like they're a bit, hastily made. So hopefully this means that it's a priority. I hope so.
I agree. That would be very nice. Big question, of course, is: are you getting any boxes?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. We have been very.
What are you getting?
What are we getting?
Yeah.
Well, we have actually been skipping a few sets. I think we skipped Aftermath,
Yeah.
and we have skipped Commander Masters. So there's been a long time where we haven't been cracking any Magic actually. So when this set was released, we were just like, yeah, we're going to need some of that because it looks to be a really fun and great set. So right now we have settled on a draft box and a collector box and a Fey deck. And we might just go and purchase some more after having opened. So I think right now we're just going to crack what we have there. We're not going to put anything in the cabinet, and then maybe later on we might buy something for the closet and maybe a little more to open. So a draft and a collector. What about you, Jürgen?
Yeah, I'm curious if the price actually will go down even further, although it is quite a good price after release, because it looks like nobody cares at the moment. Stores are not ordering that much, and people seem not to be ordering that much, despite it being a good set. I'm wondering if that's completely fatigue, wallet fatigue in general, or fatigue of Magic the Gathering. But yeah, I personally, as you know, I don't really buy any recent stuff at all, and I haven't bought any recent stuff since the era of Throne of Eldraine. I bought that, and afterwards Ikoria I bought a lot because I really liked the set, and that area. It's like 2020, right? Or is it 2021? Yeah, you know what I mean. I think it's 2021. That era I bought. It was 2021. And the last book, and since Magic the Gathering 30th anniversary edition, I haven't bought anything because I was a bit frustrated. And I normally focus on old cards. But last set I bought was Dominaria Remastered because I like to draft with my friends and play Tower with my friends, and we do that once every couple of months. So then that one box lasts me for quite a while. And this time, I think looking at the end of the year, like a couple of board game weekends with my buddies coming up, I definitely will buy a draft booster box of Wilds of Eldraine to play with them and just enjoy the set. But that's probably it for now. Although I'm a bit tempted to buy a collector's booster box, but yeah, then I think for $200 I can get, I don't know, a nice Arabian Nights card as well. So yeah, it's always, you can only spend your money once. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think we are pretty excited, and also just there's a lot of the cards where I'm like, okay, I could use this in my deck. I wanna maybe do some more, playing around. I'm getting the Fey deck, the black blue deck, and I really want to maybe spice it up a bit. There's a few cards in the main set that's not in the commander that I probably would want, and we want to do a lot of content. We want to do maybe like a sealed where the viewers help us build some decks.
I already saw that.
Each other. Yeah. So I think we kind of just want to have some fun with Magic. There's been so much, frustration and finding there's a set that we both really like and enjoy. So we really just want to have some fun with the game.
Yeah, and also as a added benefit, having the Enchanting Tales insert in every booster pack is really powerful, and it gives a great kind of value to the set also. So you're going to have a lot of great cards to build from in the standard set, and then having the Enchanting Tales on top of that is going to yield you a lot of great cards.
Yeah, are you excited about the artwork of Enchanting Tales cards?
Yeah, actually, I like
how many are there? There are quite some cards, right?
Yeah,
63.
Enchanting Tales cards is the same number as with the Brothers War and Strixhaven. And I think the only thing I'm worrying a bit about, and I know now I'm just having the collector hat on, is that some of these cards, Smothering Tide, Doubling Season, Parallel Lives, these cards might not survive value-wise after this print.
But
No, I totally agree.
But on the contrary to that point, I think at least here we are getting them at a standard price. We are not paying Commander Masters prices. It seems like it's going to be a very fair price, and I think that the artwork they've done for a lot of this is really spectacular. The fairy tale artwork I'm really enjoying. The anime might not be my personal preference, but I know a lot of people enjoy that.
Yeah, I have the same. I'm not very much into anime. I like cartoons, but pretty much old school cartoons. So anime is not really my kind of thing. But I think the prices of the individual cards will go down. And indeed, I think I heard, Jens, like you said, that it's like the same as the mystical archives and stuff, right? Like, okay, I only have seen like 10 of the Enchanting Tales cards. On the one hand, I'm happy for everybody who needs them. Fair enough. But that's another reason I probably won't go heavy anymore into modern sets or standard sets, however you want to call them. Modern, I just don't mean the format. I mean like more recent sets. Because I think cards should retain value, at least a little bit. It's a collectible card game. And if I buy a box for $100 and there's $30 of cards in there, then I can buy a boxed board game as well, like Dominion, and everybody has the same cards and we can just play. I know it's a touchy subject and we shouldn't go into it. Let's keep it fun and light, just my opinion. But in general, I agree. There are some really good cards in there, and I think for people who need them, it will be awesome. Value-wise, it will kill cards like you said, Doubling Season, Ristic Studies, Land Tax, these kind of cards. They just have been reprinted too often recently. I think 3-4 times sometimes. So yeah, they should give the card a break, at least some of the cards a break for a bit, I think, to
and it's also it's a bit weird that they're doing Commander Masters with certain reprints, and then immediately after they're doing Wilds of Eldraine. That's it's a little odd.
It looks like they don't communicate to each other within the different departments at Wizards of the Coast. Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, but yeah, it definitely looks like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but also having so many releases a year and maybe cutting a little down on staff, it's bound to go wrong at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely. Honestly, I'm surprised that it still goes well when it comes to design of the sets and to design of the cards. And the only thing I see it with is the quality of the cards sometimes, but that's not even the fault of the R&D department. So all props to the R&D department. I think the sets are good. The sets are fun to play, and they are quite creative for the amount of sets they are pumping out. So yeah, I'm pretty surprised it isn't worse yet, actually.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point that they're actually doing a great job in R&D. There's really a lot of creativity. They're doing new stuff. They're still experimenting and keeping up with the thing that works. So I think they're doing a great job. And I do think Wilds of Eldraine will be a lot of fun. So Jürgen, you had a little video about Lorcana and the Wilds of Eldraine. Could you divulge what was that about?
Yeah, I actually did. I first had a look at Wilds of Eldraine in general, and then I had a video about Wilds of Eldraine and the timing of the release, which I think is very peculiar. At the same time now, Wilds of Eldraine is coming out. Lorcana, Disney's Lorcana trading card game is coming out as well. And by the way, I see everybody buying it, and people are being very enthusiastic about it. Actually, a buddy of mine just sent me a WhatsApp text. He's been to a show in Germany called the Gamescom, and he has been to the Ravensburger booth. It's more or less a video game show, but Ravensburger has been there, and he actually bought a booster box for $125 there, and he opened it and he got a Mickey, a very, very rare Mickey. I can open the app, but we can talk about it later as well. But the timing of Wilds of Eldraine, to me is not a coincidence. I think Wizards of the Coast knows exactly what they are doing, and I think they see everybody that takes away market share as a competitor. And I wouldn't call like certain trading card games direct competition to Magic the Gathering, because you can always distribute it in different age target groups, and I think Pokemon, for example, is targeted at a younger age group, or a younger target group in general, and that makes it a little less of a competition, but it still takes away market shares. You can only spend your money once, like I said before as well. And I think the same is valid for Lorcana, which actually has a very broad target group, because kids really like it. At current prices, they probably couldn't buy it. So I think more grown-up Disney fans, which there are a lot of out there, including me. I like Disney movies a lot, but we all got kids. You got kids, I got kids. So and we grew up with Disney, so we still watch it on a regular basis. But I think it's more aimed now in the beginning towards Disney fans and collectors and trading card game players. So I think Wizards of the Coast saw that, and they actually put the release date around the release of Lorcana. What do you think? Is that a valid conspiracy theory or not?
I think that they could have chosen to put the Wilds of Eldraine at any other point. So at least there is a conscious decision about when are we going to have this come out. And they, of course, already know about Lorcana. And I have to say, just looking at the image behind us for the stream, you can see that there are a lot of characters and a lot of similar colors. And also, I have to say, one thought I had after watching your great video was the fact that some of the fairy tale cards, if you look at a card like Necropotence, I'm just going to bring it up for all of our viewers here, you can see it has that almost old Cinderella Snow White feel to it. It is very, very similar in the way that it is drawn. So I feel like there might definitely be something to this tinfoil hat theory here.
Yeah, and also the Enchanting Tales as an extra slot. We're having a lot of powerful cards in that slot, and that might also entice Magic players to go and buy the Wilds of Eldraine, because there's so much power in this set, and you might actually miss out if you spend your money on Lorcana, if you're a hardcore Magic the Gathering player. Yeah. So yeah, they're definitely trying to make this set being a clear competition, and having it released at the same time. It is maybe a bit fishy. But
and they did it before, right? I mean, just look at the Secret Lair, Frank Frazzetta's Secret Lair. It came out directly at the same time, or exactly at the same time as the Sorcery set was planned, the first alpha release. And Sorcery was postponed a bit, but Sorcery, for people who don't know, they included Frank Frazetta artwork. It was the first time Frank Frazetta artwork has been included in a TCG for a very long time. I think I got some normal collector cards from the 90s, and he's on there. But after that, I haven't really seen it. And exactly at the moment they planned their release, the Secret Lair from Wizards of the Coast came out with exactly the same artwork. So they bought into the license as well. And I think they did that to really just, annoy the Sorcery guys. And I think with Lorcana, it's very clear. They just want to keep that little bit of extra market share they otherwise would lose for exactly the same purpose. Like you said, Jens, people can only spend their money once, and if you're a hardcore Magic the Gathering fan, then you see both. And Sophie, you said it looks very similar. I put a box on the artwork you got in the background here, like a Lorcana box. You don't see the difference. It's exactly the same style, exactly the same colors. And I think, definitely they did that on purpose and just want to get some extra market share. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast and market share.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the same color palette, even the very dark tones, the purple, everything. It fits a little too well, at least.
I put some cards next to. Yeah, sorry. I put some cards next to each other, and just look at Ashiok and Maleficent, and these kind of cards, or the mirror in Disney, and how's the mirror called in Wilds of Eldraine?
That's the
Beseech the mirror, exactly. There's so many similarities, and of course you can say it's because it's the same theme. It's a fairy tale theme, but somehow still there is definitely some stuff in there that looks very, very alike.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
There
but
is.
it's very evident that they're bringing the A game for this set. We're having going back to Eldraine. We have some flavor going back to Lorwyn. It's a great set, and I think they know it. And also, well, you might speculate that they need to have this great set after having maybe released Commander Masters, because I think they expected Commander Masters to do better than it did. And then after having a great banger set, you need to have something to entice people to actually spend their money one more time, because, well, if there's nothing good in it and just spend a lot of money on Commander Masters, why would you spend it again? So yeah,
Agreed.
I think a lot of the puzzle is going to fit.
Definitely.
No, totally agree. I think you're right there. I think it definitely is a conscious choice to actually ramp up the power level and release a good set for a fair price. I think people are fed up with high prices as well. We had a lot of the rings. Now we got the Commander Masters and everything. It's and all of those have been expensive sets. Then we had some standard sets that went up in price quite quickly. Dominaria Remastered was pretty expensive with a couple of $100. I think $200 for a regular draft booster box in the beginning, and then $359 for a collector booster box. So yeah, having a set fair priced with good cards for once in a while is definitely something people appreciate. I think that's very very
It goes
evident.
back to Eldraine, that if they already know it's a very beloved set, it's a plane that everybody enjoyed a lot. So I think it's definitely a good tactic to go back and say, hey, you remember, you love this, come back to us, come back. But as you just mentioned, we had a talk just before hitting the record button. What do you make of the fact that nobody is really interested in this, that the prices are fairly low right now? Are people just worn out, or are they just going to wait a while and then go in and purchase what they want?
I think you can burn people only so many times when it comes to purchasing boxes. It's very simple. Even I, who only buys, like I said, a box here and there, I bought the Dominaria Remastered box for $169, which was already a discount. Now it's on a German retailer site for 129. So that's $40. And $40 is a lot of money. And if I see that, I think like shit. And if I would have bought a case, that's 6 times 40, it's $240. So yeah, that's a lot of money. I think people are just fed up with prices crashing, artificial scarcity, hype. In general, things are not going well in the economies, and it doesn't matter if it's Europe, US, or whatever. People have less to spend. Groceries have gotten more expensive. Gas prices have gotten more expensive.
Yeah.
And we are not paid more. So yeah, it's tough, especially if you got a family to sustain. So yeah, every box is a luxury. And if you have so much passion that you are actually buying into that luxury, and then boxes are sold for sometimes $100 less in extreme cases when it comes to the more expensive sets. Look at Lord of the Rings. Then in a very short time, then yeah, it's very frustrating, I guess. So I think people had enough when it comes to the expensive prices, and that's actually a bit of a shame, because this one is not priced at a high price. It's pretty affordable. So yeah, maybe people will turn around, just go to the LGSs, buy a box here and there, but I don't think it will be like a very well-selling set somehow, although maybe that still might turn around. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that this set is actually missing, that Wizards might just have spoiled us to expect, is serialized cards. So in this set, we have not seen any serialized cards. In Commander Masters, there weren't any serialized cards either. So the problem becomes, if you want people to actually collect Magic the Gathering, we need to either have less reprints and have a sort of stable value in the cards, or we need to have some chase cards to really go after.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that the only chase cards in the Wilds of Eldraine are actually the confetti foils.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are liking that. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, well, I'm not paying anything for that because I think it's not that pretty.
No,
So
I
what
get
do you
it.
think?
Yeah, what would you prefer? More reprint equity and less reprints in general, more value for cards, or serialized cards, chase cards? What would you prefer?
I would definitely prefer less reprints because, to be frank, serialized cards are for the few. Most people won't find a serialized card, and it's sort of a lottery ticket that if you're lucky enough, you're going to really break the bank, and if not, well, then you have just spent a lot of money and have nothing to show for it. And I think it's much more fair that everybody that buys and spend a hard-earned money are actually being rewarded by having cards that retain some value. And I'm not saying that card should be extremely expensive, but I think if you have paid $30 for a card, well, that card should be around $20 to $40.
Yep.
Simply so you just spend all your money on nothing.
Yeah, and the problem also with the serialized cards is the fact that that is just a new variant. At some point, we're not going to care anymore because unless you make it very, very special, and maybe out of 10 out of something, it's not going to matter because just like with foils, they used to have a lot of value. Foils were important. You didn't get them a lot. And all of a sudden, if serialized cards are just going to be there in every set, we're not going to care.
No, definitely. Do you think that's why they didn't put them in there?
I think they're at least trying to be more cautious about it. I think that they're aware that if they go the route of the sports cards, they don't want to have serialized in every set. So I think they try to say, okay, what can we do? What can we make some great new cards? And I think they should be rewarded for that because they have made some really great cards. We made a list of cards that we are going to buy or play with because they are really good. So I would rather that they spend their energy on making new cards that later on can retain value rather than just having new blingy versions.
Yeah, but that might also be the explanation to us why the prices are as low as they are, because I think most players are just holding their breath and waiting to buy the singles when they are being released, because we know that as soon as a set is released, the single prices are going to dip 20, 30, 40%. So, and that is why you need to pick up the cards if you're just a player. And I think for the collector part, there's not enough oomph in this set to actually warrant the price when you buy it.
No, agreed. And although it looks very good and the art is cool, the art to me as well as a collector doesn't trigger me that much anymore to actually collect a set because the prices should be able, especially if you look at the lower single prices, you should be able. And I like the fact that there are no serialized cards in there because serialized cards stay more special, and I could complete a set because serialized cards technically count towards the set, and I can't collect all of those, of course, because they are too expensive. But the artwork doesn't trigger me that much when it comes to collecting a set. So yeah, there is not enough trigger for collectors in general anymore to collect modern sets, I think, or more recent sets. Standard sets. It's difficult. No.
The idea of set collecting that has sort of just passed by, because if there's a new set every month, you never get to complete a set. It's too much. You can't keep up with it. I think the first set we ever collected was Sorcery, because we know there's not going to be anything right now. So for Magic, I think collecting sets, that's an era that's gone past somehow.
And also all the variants, it's really, really hard to actually complete a set. We just did a video on the prices on Commander Masters, and just, typing down the list, just having the mythics and all the variants of the mythics. Already there, we had 114 cards. It's just like, wow. And that's just the mythics. So we're only going to have the rares and the uncommons and all these special variants. You need to have a binder of 1,000+ cards or something.
Yeah,
And
you
then,
can fit it in a big what is it? The big 4 pages binders are 576, I think, the codexes and so on.
Yeah.
So that's half a set. You need 2 binders. Crazy. But I think the variants are overseeable in Wilds of Eldraine. I think it's okay. I think you have like 3 variants max per some cards, maybe 4. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I'm not quite sure how that correlates with the foil versions. But I think I saw like 3 variants is like the normal thing, right? Or is it more?
No, I think so. I think again, I think they are listening to some capacity. I feel like they scaled down on variants a little for Wilds of Eldraine. Um, and I actually also I appreciate that there's not
Yeah.
4 or 5 of each card. I mean, at the top, I also think you talked about that on your channel. We had the Elish Norn. She had like 9 or 14
yeah,
versions at
I
some
think
point.
it was 14 or 15 I found. Yes,
Yeah,
and I
and
just
that's
had a yeah.
who needs that. I mean, I know some people are like, oh, but it's nice and if you get whatever. But the problem is also that you are having an impossible time getting the one variant that you actually do want.
No, it's not
no,
fun
you're
anymore.
unlucky, and
I
you're
think that's
just
just stupid.
putting the same card in 8 different variants. You're like, well, I would actually like to have another mythic than
Yep.
this one. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely going to try to collect all the enchanting tales. I'm actually loving the art, both the anime art and the fairy tale art. So I think that would be a doable thing to try to collect 63 cards, just like we did with the Brothers War. And I'm loving that. I'm loving that you can just say, okay, I want these 63 cards. I'm going to collect those, and it's going to be doable, especially if you are buying the collector pack because you're getting so many of them just from one collector box. So
Yeah, true. Then you focus on parts of the set, which is kind of set collecting as well. I like that. But I didn't think you were much of an anime guy, Jens.
well, I actually like it. I also liked it a lot in the what was it, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty.
Yeah, that
I
was
like
pretty
those
cool. I
cards.
agree.
I think it's fun. It's a little different. So
Yeah, I think the anime is fine. I just don't need it to
Yeah.
cross into waifu territory
no,
because that is just not interesting
No,
to me. And I
not my
think,
kind of thing. And
no,
everybody who likes it, just normal anime stuff or whatever they're into. But in this case, I think the cards, of course, Magic the Gathering is very careful with what they are putting out there. I think everybody who likes it, go for it. That
yeah,
seems like a bit. Was it what is the? It's Weiss Schwarz, Weiss Schwartz.
yeah,
It's the anime game. I haven't really had a single pack opened of that one yet, so I'm not quite sure. But I think what I have seen, it is. Is that a step towards them as well with the anime cards? Just testing the waters, getting an anime set out there, getting the competition even bugging the competition even more.
Yeah, I think I mean, it could be because it is a very for Magic the Gathering as a really old school fantasy sort of game. I think they're definitely testing out some new waters again,
Yeah.
making their audience more broader and broader, and making sure that they get to more and more people. Yeah, so I think that they're doing this for this set, but also for the coming couple of years. We've seen like 70s, 80s vibes on something, and a space opera. They're really testing out a lot of new territory here.
and Fallout.
Please give me a Masters of the Universe secret lair, and then I'm buying the hell out of that one.
That would be very cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Area.
No, but all right, I think we covered most of it, right?
Yeah.
Because we're in it like for like 45 minutes already, and we wanted to keep it short, but that doesn't work with us.
No,
Apparently not. No. We had the best of intentions.
but we're having
Yeah.
such a good time. It's difficult to end
Definitely.
it.
Yeah, no, but that's what they say, right? If you have good friends around the table, you can just talk for hours. So that's always good. No, very good intentions, but in this case, if you don't meet those good intentions, it's all right as well.
Yeah, exactly. But Jürgen, thank you so much. And to all of our viewers, we're kind of hoping that we might do this on a more regular basis. So maybe we get to go on your channel at some point as well.
Yeah, I would love that. And I think it would be pretty fun to do this on a regular basis and just switch channels when it comes to releasing the videos from time to time.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot from me to you as well for having me on. And next time at my place.
Yeah.
Definitely. We'll bring the cardboard.
Hey, that sounds like a plan. Very good. Stay healthy, stay frosty.
Yeah, and you too, Jürgen. It was really fun to talk with you, and I think we covered a lot of great points about the Wilds of Eldraine. And we think it's going to be a great set. If somebody out there was like, did you become a little negative? No. We're still really looking forward to this set.
We are indeed.
Definitely, me too. Definitely looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a very cool set. So yeah, let's hope everybody picks up on the cool vibes of the set.